अजय जी,
नमस्कार अंकल जी। अंकल जी आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
हाँ आवाज आ रही है आपको ठीक से।
अच्छा,
तो
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार, सुनाए आप?
हाँ जी। This is a translation of the initial pages of Guru Maharaj's book titled Yoga Philosophy and Naveen Sadhana. This single word yoga includes nearly all activities undertaken for worldly pursuits as well as those undertaken for spiritual upliftment. Yoga is naturally present in every living being at all times. We eat, drink, read, listen, speak, etc. every day. We consider these activities as natural and usual, but all these are actually examples of yoga in our daily life. Successful completion of any of these activities requires complete concentration and focus, which is what yoga is. In the present times, when most people hear the word yoga, they get discouraged by what they consider to be a monumental task, which is elusive and difficult to practice or achieve. Many feel that it cannot be successfully pursued while living as a family person, and that until one renounces everything, nothing will be accomplished. This is actually not true. The word yoga literally means union or merger. It is a state attained when we direct our complete attention and concentration to something that we truly desire, whether worldly or otherwise. You may have experienced that sometimes when we are reading a book or doing something we are interested in, we get completely immersed in it and completely lose track of everything other than that activity, thus becoming one with that activity. This state is actually yoga or union. Why should we try to understand yoga and what will we gain? Every living creature on this earth, may it be an animal or a human being, is only seeking one thing, and that is happiness, joy, or contentment. We take the trouble of going to schools and colleges in hope that we will get employed, establish businesses, hoping to generate wealth which we think will bring us happiness. Similarly, we seek happiness from marriage, children, big houses, fast cars, etc., etc. All of these things, however, are changeable and perishable. We become happy when we land a good job and sad when we lose one. Become happy when the business is running well and sad when we incur a loss. Even our own body, which we love so much, keeps changing with time. We feel good about it when we are young and become sad as old age sets in. The entire human life is spent in the clutches of this dichotomy, with the person helplessly pushed up and down in the never ceasing currents of life. We were looking for happiness, but we did not really find it. We were seeking peace and tranquility, but they are nowhere to be seen. That is because the things that we thought would give us happiness are not stable and keep changing under the influence of an unknown power over which we have no control. A beautiful flower in full bloom today wilts in a few days. We want to remain young, but in due course our youth is taken away. We want to always remain healthy, but diseases set in. The question arises as to why all these things happen against our wish. When we want to be happy, why do we keep encountering sorrow? The Bhagavad Gita answers this question with vivid clarity when Lord Krishna says, Arjun, whether you choose to obey me or not, your position will always remain under my dominion. The body in which you reside is a machine made from my material energy. Based on your past karmas, I have given you the kind of body you deserved. I too am seated in it and noting all your thoughts, words, and deeds. So I will also judge whatever you do in the present to decide your future. Do not think you are independent of me in any condition. Hence, Arjun, it is your best interest to surrender to me. These Lord Krishna's utterings are telling us that we are not independent. We are all ruled by a superhuman power or God. The script of the ever-changing things in life, the nature, the script of ever-changing things in life, the highs of happiness and the lows of sorrow is written by this superpower. Since it is the nature of every living being to remain free, he wants to be free of this dominating superpower. Such freedom can only come to him when he becomes one with this superpower and gains control of it. The word yoga is nothing but a union with this superpower, God. This is also salvation. The desire for such union is innate in all humans because seeking freedom is our nature. The happiness which eludes us when we look for it in the worldly pursuits is actually found in this union or yoga with God. The happiness that is found in this manner feels absolute, complete, and is perpetual and perennial, contrary to the superficial transient happiness that is experienced from worldly accomplishments. It constantly replenishes us from within and is unaffected by our gains or losses in the physical world. A question may arise as to where does happiness reside? The answer is in our soul, which is the seat of joy and contentment, constantly radiates happiness. We don't experience it because we have turned our attention outward, away from this internal source of never ending joy. It is not easy to disengage from the external stimuli and concentrate inwards. Our mind, by nature, likes to wander outside, just like a child who wants to keep playing outside the house and does not like to stay home. If we set up a video game or an indoor activity which interests the child, he stays home and forgets to venture out. Similarly, we can trick our mind into concentrating inwards, which in due course connects us to our internal fountain of perpetual happiness. You should not consider yoga to be something very difficult or something that is beyond your capability. After all, you're already doing it for all your worldly activities, as I have mentioned before. You do not have to do anything new, and you do not have to learn anything new. The only thing you have to do is to redirect your focus and concentration inwards as opposed to its current outward orientation. By just making this one adjustment, you can achieve salvation and solitude. If you can even devote this spare time in your day, or about 15 to 20 minutes each day, to this practice of internal concentration, then I can assure you that you can soon attain an advanced spiritual state and become a complete yogi. It might be difficult for some people to believe this, but I am saying this based on my own experience. I have benefited from this practice, and I have seen this simple process work for many of my colleagues. You should discard the notion that it is a difficult task and try it for yourself. You will not have to change anything in your professional or family life. You will see its benefit within a week and start experiencing peace in a matter of few days. Any particular task can be accomplished in many different ways, some difficult and some simpler than others, just like a math problem which can be solved in different ways. A problem may be solved by a student using a full sheet of paper and considerable time. The same problem can be solved by another student in a few minutes without using any pen and paper. Both students solved the problem, but it was much easier for the second student because he or she used a more efficient, simpler method. By the grace of my guru, I also happen to know of a simple method for achieving spiritual advancement, an easy way of attaining peace and lasting happiness. I am always ready to share it with anyone who is interested because it is my ardent desire that everyone benefits from this simple practice. Namaskar, Uncle.
As we just heard, Guru Maharaj says that he is willing to share what he has learned with everybody, and he gave us that. So we will do now the same practice. Please sit in a relaxed posture, a posture in which you can stay without moving for half an hour. Close your eyes lightly and envision that the divine light of God or Guru both happens to be the same, is coming in front of you, penetrating your heart area. Your heart is getting illuminated, and you're slowly getting immersed in that light. Bhanu, बस करो. प्रदीप जी.
जी अंकल जी।
आप प्रसाद लगवाओ।
तो गुरु महाराज के सभी प्रेमियों को सादर प्रणाम। As I was listening to what Dr. Saab was saying, uh, I was remembering a note that I might uh, share, but this today is Govardhan Puja day. So I have a very, I don't have anything uh, other than some special memories. और जैसे बहुत बार बात होती है कि हम आई एम इन दैट कैटेगरी को याद करने के अलावा हमारे पास कुछ है नहीं. So I have a very wonderful memory of this day from 36 years back, probably the most precious memory. Uh, the only time I have ever physically spoken to Giamma. So it's a special day, and it just remembering that fills me with whatever Dr. Sir was talking about. So let me, Uncle, I will take this 2-3 minutes to read through this note. It's probably, once again, these are my own personal musings. So it's a very old note from 2007. I shared this recently with Manoj, and the only point of this is that there are maybe other people who go through this too, and it kind of dovetails into what Dr. Sav was reading in the beginning. Yesterday night, I was thinking about evolution of my professional career and how things stand now. For a boy who left the village with an aim to study and the possibility of landing a job that could fetch up to rupees 1,000 a month and all will be well thereafter, it has been a rather successful, even remarkable journey. So I was not complaining, for I have long observed that seemingly less qualified or academically less accomplished folks were doing better, while others on the other end of the spectrum were not doing as well. Yet this thought managed to get hold of me. While I have been talking, advising, assisting, teaching, even preaching, others have been listening, learning, and moving on. I have been standing where I were. And this incidentally reminds me, बाबूजी ने एक बार बोला था कि जहाँ के तहाँ खड़े हैं. But then, does it really matter in the end? Does it really matter what kind of house you live in and what kind of car you drive? Maybe it does, maybe not. How do you define success? Does it lie in moving up the ladder, or it is doing something useful and to be at peace with oneself? We are advised that keep the fire for learning burning. Have I learned to be at peace with myself? Yes, at times, no, at others. Can I keep my calm in the face of adversity? Sometimes answer is indeed yes, but at the others, oh well, it's better left unsaid. दिलकश भी नजर आती है, धब्बे भी बहुत हैं, ये जिंदगी जरदार की कतरन की तरह है. This is one of the favorite couplet of Babuji from Kalyan Mar. So why is it so? I am a traveler and have a long way to go. And then this morning, while reading something, I realized, this is once again back in 2007, that about 20 years back, I call it faith, guts, nerves, courage, arrogance, whatever you want to call it, to go in front of a jam-packed audience and quote from these paragraphs that people were asking later as if I were speaking extempore. That pose of self-assuredness was even captured a now lost photograph. And I can tell you, this was not your average audience, but arguably one of the most intellectually and spiritually capable audiences. mostly professors and researchers on the lower end of the order. Friends, general acquaintances, folks not known to me included. And now, 20 years later, I had tough time sharing same ideas with any sense of assuredness, with even friends. What drove it then and what has changed since that has caused this attitude change? What follows is a set of questions and an attempt to answer some. Was it simply youthful exuberance and zeal that goes with it, or indeed faith, however short lived? Was it the hope that in due course I will be able to not just talk the talk but also be able to walk the walk? Was it the fact that journey had just begun and I was unaware of things to come? Or was it simply a foolhardy romance that goes with the age? Was it because I was just being myself, no false pretense, conscious or unconscious? It was just natural. Maybe that those were simply different times. We can always agree with this one, as times are ever changing. Just that our sense of impermanence is not as strong or real. I cannot answer maybe all of the above. Maybe I have grown up and am more practical. But years, so many years later, I have still not moved beyond tears. Maybe some are born to shed tears. और रोने चिल्लाने से तो कुछ होना नहीं. So all I can hope for is mercy. For action, even with all the preaching, doesn't seem to be my strength. But as I told Professor many years back, when she advised me to see a psychiatrist, I am not yet ready to give up on tears, so they can still lighten my heart. I'll add to it just an anecdote from yesterday. It's once again, how far when we consider our own behavior, we can't take out 5, 10, 15 minutes. Uh, and a young adult was sharing this that in uh, city center, she just noticed a 14, 13, 14-year with her father. She was like totally asking him what to do, what's wrong with you, dad. And this person probably realized that the person was going through, the father was a diabetic and he was going into a diabetic shock. Now there are people passing by, not paying the attention. She happened and asked her. The daughter didn't know what to do. She did tell her that he's a diabetic. He went to a pharmacy, got some you know, uh, chocolates or whatever to get him out of it, and then spent 15 minutes with that person, scolding him that you are being very irresponsible. Your daughter doesn't know what to do. And so she said, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just hoping that I'll uh, make in time to and inject insulin just getting home." So there are times when we are not even able to take when we look at our own behavior and own conduct, whether this even after spending so many years, are we really moving or just talking? So as I said, remembering is the only thing that uh, helps me. That is, this was one of the other things I wrote to somebody. Actually, Pravinji, I was exchanging a message with him. बड़े बाबूजी used to say that जितना जानो उतना कहो, और दूसरी बात he used to say that सत्संग किसी के माथे पे नहीं लिखा है. So if we want to call ourselves satsangi, this has to reflect in our behavior through our actions. And the only thing I know is that if you have found somebody in whom you can see whatever that you want to call it, God or whatever, then just remembering him can get you through life and get to a state what was being described, that you uh, connect to your uh, fountain within that keeps you at peace, perpetual peace, and uh, in the state of happiness. So let's, on this auspicious occasion, uh, offer this prasad to whatever we have as token of our faith and respect. He's present here in his universal form, that he accept this and gives his blessing, gives us strength so that we can follow that path honestly and in due course be worthy of his true followers or children. एक मिनट और ध्यान कर लीजिए. अंकल जी,
हाँ जी. तो वो आप कह रहे थे, तो उसमें एक था कि सक्सेस. तो रामकृष्ण परमहंस के पास एक बार ये पहुंचे थे बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी. तो बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी तो बड़े फेमस थे उस समय, बहुत फेमस हो चुके थे. तो बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी से परमहंस ने पूछा कि तुझे सफलता और सार्थकता में फर्क पता है? Now he is asking that question to a renowned scholar, बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी. बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी चुप रह गए. He couldn't answer that question. तो परमहंस ने कहा, तुम्हारे पास नाम है, पैसे हैं, सब लोग तुझे जानते हैं, ये सफलता है. सार्थकता यह है कि तुम अपने इष्ट से कितना नजदीक पहुंच चुके हो. ये दोनों में फर्क जानो. तो सब लोग यहाँ पर, हम लोग ज्यादातर तो सफल ही हैं somehow, somewhat, लेकिन हम लोग कितना सार्थक हैं, we have to ask that question to ourselves, and only we can answer that question, nobody else can. So should we conclude today's lesson?
I have to go anyway, uncle.